Balls. Bonus show. You're listening to a NOOP Bonus show, and I hope that Warner Brothers doesn't sue me for that. Welcome to the bonus show. This is the second one we've done now in 20-some-odd episodes. Which means if you want a relevant conversation, now is not the time. We are going to drink probably heavily and discuss webcomics and then other crap.
And Congress.
And Congress. Definitely Congress. Fuck those guys.
Discuss Congress are crazy.
And it should be a good time. So let's go around the room in reverse order. We still have Adam with us.
What's up?
Mike.
Heyo.
Zach. Still here. And Rob.
Nope, not here.
No, Rob's not present. And my name still is and always will be, hopefully, Jared. So let's talk about comics. You know what, Adam, let's start with you because you have one comic that you brought me into, and it's probably the only one you're going to talk about. So let's talk about that one.
It's the only one I'm talking about. Actually, it's called JL8. It was once called
Little League.
Little League. Thank you. It was once called Little League. It's made by Yale Stewart. He had to change the title, unfortunately, because Little League was a little conflicting with baseball's Little League. So
Really? That's the reason why?
yeah,
Jeez.
pretty much. But either way, it's actually a webcomic about Justice League, just as children, very young children, and they're actually going through like everyday stuff normal people go through, not superheroes. They're mostly in school, birthday parties, stuff like that. They just hit over 100 webcomic strips.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, he likes to put out 2 a week. You can find the webcomic on Tumblr, Twitter, Facebook, just about anything. Just try to find it. JL8 by Yale Stewart. It's pretty funny. I really, really enjoyed it. I stumbled upon it by accident. I don't even know how I found it. Generally don't even search the web for webcomics. But I found it, and I showed Jared because I just thought it was hilarious and that it was a pretty well done webcomic.
Yeah, and you know, I'm a big fan of Batman. I'm a DC fanboy probably as much as he is Marvel.
Yeah.
And
For some reason.
because it's amazing. And the first thing he showed me was the first comic panel, which is basically little, probably 8-year-old Batman complaining to Alfred that he doesn't like wearing his suit because the other ones are dirty. And that no one's going to think he's cool wearing this suit. And he pops out like the 1970s blue and gray suit and thinks he's going to be made fun of. And then that theme pops up a few more times in the series as he makes them cooler suits and... it's phenomenal. And the way they portray Flash is amazing.
Yeah, he's done really good with these characters, and like almost to the point where I think like DC might even like try to use some of his material at some point.
Doesn't he have an affiliation with DC already?
I believe he does. I haven't really looked into it too much, but I believe he does. Which is, I think, why he has the ability to do this in the first place.
Why he's not getting sued by them, too.
But, yeah, it's a great webcomic. I try to follow it as closely as I can. I have him liked on Facebook, so as soon as he posts something, I can see it. He does commissions, too, so he does, like, drawings that you can buy. You can pay for it over, like, PayPal or something like that. And he'll send you, like, the original artwork for something, or he'll draw something specifically for you.
Yep.
He's just now getting into like going to some of the cons. He went to New York Comic Con. He generally stays East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
He lives somewhere. Yeah, he lives somewhere on the
Once
East
you get
Coast.
into the convention circuit, you wind up going everywhere eventually.
Yeah, but I don't imagine he makes that much money yet. So traveling is a little bit of an issue for him at the moment. He has stated that, but he wants to get involved with West Coast and going around.
If he gets merchandising rights to what he's doing, he'll make a killing at a con.
Like I said, he's done commissions, and when he's at a con, he's allowed to draw for people. And
well, I saw he just did a series of backgrounds for desktop.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, and he sold, there was an auction recently, after the Sandy Hook, shooting. He put a picture up of, little Clark Superman, with the date above his head, and Superman, little Clark, was just on the floor, kind of in like a fetal position, but just sitting up, I mean, with his arms around his knees, crying, you know, and it was kind of like a memorial thing. It could be a little powerful when you think about it, Superman crying about, you know, something going on. Generally, Superman stops stuff from like that happening, but obviously we don't have a Superman. So, yeah, he auctioned it off. I can't remember how much money he got for it, but he auctioned it off, and I think the money was going to something as well. But yeah, he does stuff like that. I've known he's drawn a couple of things, like a child version of Sinestro for someone. You know, he does a lot of stuff like that, and most of the characters do make appearance in the webcomic. Like I said, it's still going, so he's got a lot to go with.
Yeah. If you do decide to go and look at this one, I suggest avoiding the Tumblr, because I found it confusing, navigation-wise. If you like it on Facebook, you can go to the first panel and just, you know, thumb through it from beginning to end in order. That was the easiest way for me to do it.
Yeah, it's been pretty good. I would say the only reason why to go to the Tumblr is I think Facebook has some kind of restriction on like the picture's pixelation or something like that. Sometimes in some of the later comics, if you try to zoom into the comic, you can't really see some of the words too much.
Yeah.
But the Tumblr, you can just enlarge the picture just fine, and you can do that. So if you really have to, for the most part on his Facebook posts, he does link his Tumblr post as well, because I think that's where it started. So you can always, if you have trouble with that, you can always go over to the Tumblr. Yeah. But he tries to stay on top of it, and they come out, like I said, about 2 a week. Sometimes he does an extra one, sometimes he doesn't have the time to do it, but he's pretty consistent with it, and maybe you'll see him at a Comic-Con or something like that.
Well, I definitely look forward to meeting the guy.
Yeah.
Mike, what are you playing?
I have no idea. I was just actually listening to him more so. That's the reason why I'm not really paying attention to this. But in terms of webcomics, the only thing I've really been reading lately on a consistent basis are two, or that's the only thing the two things I've been reading that.
Oh, can I just mention one last thing about JL8? IGN actually did a poll on like top webcomics of 2012, and JL8 was put up there. I don't remember if it was number one, but it was one of the top comics of 2012.
And IGN's a pretty good authority, I think.
I like them.
on nerd things.
Oh yeah, sorry.
No, it's cool. The only two I've been really reading is Penny Arcade, from time to time,
kind of staple.
A book called, a webcomic called Unshelved, which is about libraries. Which
Go figure.
It's a comedic story of a YA librarian and his daily stuff. But as much as it's about libraries, if you're into customer service at all, like that's part of your job. It's mostly about the things you wish you could say to customers.
How have you not told my wife about this?
I don't know. I can loan her the books. I bought the books at Comic-Con. But
yeah, the website will do.
yeah, the website is pretty incredible, and they just take stories from librarians they meet at different conferences, and they translate them into this webcomic. So I think we all have crazy patron stories. And they're pretty recognizable, though, to anybody who's ever worked in retail. Because
customers are crazy assholes?
Yeah, questions like, what do you mean you weren't watching my children? And you're kind of like, what? Not my...
I learned how to hate humanity through working in retail, which is why I hope to get out of it soon so I can regain my love of humanity, which I'm sure I had at some point in my life.
I don't know.
I'm not really sure on that.
Is it just because I'm a bad person that I enjoy working in retail?
No, that makes you a fucking saint that you enjoy working, because
No, it doesn't.
You have the patience to deal with these a-holes day in and day out. The one thing I've always wanted to say to somebody, no matter what their complaint was, if they're yelling or being inappropriate to me, my reaction always, viscerally is, do you know how much money they don't pay me to deal with you? Do you understand you're yelling at, like, minimum wage workers, basically?
Yeah, but as long as you don't let it bother you, then... honestly, this person can be as upset as they want, but what effect is it going to have on you?
Well, it makes me want to punch them.
But honestly, they can't do anything to you.
They can
Like,
get
they
me
have
fired.
no power over you.
They can do something to you, but they
Except-
won't.
Except if they complain, I'm the boss that they end up complaining. The complaint comes to, and I say,
See, but
"Listen,
you
I
have that
handled
liberty.
it."
Yeah.
You're the boss. We're not the boss.
No. I even when I was the boss, or a boss,
There was a boss higher.
there was always a boss higher that overrode everything
Yeah,
we
I
did.
mean, there's a but I mean, as long as you're I guess that's the trick. Is that as long as your superiors understand.
So as long as you're the highest person in the organization, you have nothing to worry about.
no. I'm not saying that. By no means am I the highest person in my organization.
In
but
your store, you are. You're a store manager.
yes, in my store I am. But at the same time, though, if I have a complaint about me, my district manager says, "Did you handle it correctly?"
Let it
I
be
say
known
yes.
that the store manager enjoys his job, but the workers don't.
Oh, he'll tell you the same thing about his workers.
No, they probably don't either.
No.
Just to give you an idea, there's a supermarket that opened up somewhat near our location.
Oh my god!
Called It's called Aldi. Okay, I think it's a German supermarket. It's like a no frills. If you've seen a no frills bag of potato chips, that's what the store looks like. The boxes of the product, there's no shelves. It's just like stacked on the floor. There's no employees to be found except for on the front end. There's no conveyor belts. It's just like a wooden box you slide food across. This is the no frills jar
You
of
have
pickles.
to put
of
a quarter
supermarkets.
in to get your shopping cart.
I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that since Pathmark 10 years ago. That's how long ago. This is Rob's dream store. If he was allowed to run his store this way, he would.
I like to cut costs and optimize efficiency.
Yeah. So
That's what they call being cheap.
that's
That's
it.
exactly what they call being cheap.
So those are your two. Zach, what do you got for us?
There's a
You're
lot.
not limited to 2. Go ahead.
Okay, good.
You haven't talked in a minute.
I'll interrupt you when I want to, but yeah, we haven't heard from you too much tonight because of the topics. So let's
well,
go
I mean,
crazy.
If you want to go nerdy, there's a comic called Goblins. It's pretty much set in a D&D universe from the Goblins' point of view. At least it starts out like the Goblins are preparing for the adventurers to come, and they're protecting this chest. And there's a chief, and there's one goblin that's like, "Why aren't we just using the magic items in the chest?" And they're all like, "No, we can't do that. It's sacrilegious." And it kind of follows along their story and their adventure, how it moves them from the tribe, and then it's just branches out from there. It's just really fantastic comic. There's one called Weregeeks, which is pretty much us, because it's all about this band of friends who actually accepts an outsider.
Whoa! When did we say we're friends?
This band of associates, of vagabonds,
There we go.
who accepts this outsider who never knew he was a geek until all of a sudden he's realized, wait, they have really cool things
I
here.
hope you don't think that you're the one who didn't realize he was a geek.
Oh, no.
No, I think we're all very self-aware, Mike.
We've all realized what we are on the
What are you
inside.
talking about? I'm the coolest guy around.
I'm a librarian. That's ballin'.
Ballin'.
But either way, and then it discusses it's multiple storylines. One is about how in their world geeks actually turn into like crazy monsters, which are really fun monsters. And in the other storylines, they follow their own like nerd adventures, such as D&D campaigns, except it's drawn out in Shadowrun and not LARP, Vampire the Masquerade.
Love Shadowrun.
Yeah, it tells their story, how it would look if they were just if they were just tabletopping it. There's another comic called Least I Could Do, written by Ryan Somar and Lars D. Souza. Excuse me if I say his name wrong.
I will not. Pronunciation is very important on the show.
You're right. You suck, Zach.
I'm sorry. But anyway, it's a comedic comic that is
Comedic comic.
comedic.
Oh no, we haven't been recording.
Really?
No, I'm fucking with you guys.
Killing bastard.
Oh, I gotta say all that again?
No, that's actually happened to us. We did like an hour's worth of show and didn't record it.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, that I remember.
My
that
bad.
night.
So comedic comic.
Comedic comic. It follows Rain Summers, who is pretty much hypersexual and hilarious, and his crazy ass adventures and hallucinations and whatnot with his friends. And a similar comic, actually, not a similar comic, a completely different comic, written by the same two people, called Looking for Group. It's also
Yes.
a fantasy adventure comic. It's with a hilarious warlock, hilariously evil warlock Richard, and an effeminate elf.
Because he's a dick.
Yeah, he's a dick.
You know, one of the first webcomics I started reading was actually Looking for Group, and I just lost track of it over time.
Oh, you really should.
You know what? Because
go back to
I've
it.
never been a person who bookmarks things. So over time, as my memory degrades, I just lose huge chunks of internet.
You really go back to it because it is fantabulous.
Well, when I go to edit this show,
Except-
I'll write all these names down and hopefully link to them somewhere so that
Good, you should.
they're held in prosperity. Puzzle. What's that word? Posterity?
Pasta
Posterity?
sauce?
There you go, posterity.
Anonymous.
I heard pasta.
Anonymous.
No.
Anonymous.
No.
Mana. If you're
Funny
into...
joke, I can't say anonymous.
Oh no.
No.
Most powerful group in the world. Mike can't pronounce their name. Say my name. I can't.
If you're into, say, science and sci-fi, rather, there is a comic called Schlock Mercenary. It's about an amorphous blob who joins a mercenary group in the future, and they're deadly and
Catastrophic.
Thank you. That's the word we're going for.
No, it's catastrophic.
That cat stuff. And their adventures in space and what they get hired to do and how they do their best to survive. There's another comic called Dominic Deegan, which is about a seer. Not somebody who sees, but somebody who sees the future. Wow.
So he's blind?
Yeah, no, he's not.
But you said he doesn't see.
Well, he sees. He's got glasses, though, so I don't know.
Maybe
He
it's
doesn't
kind of
see
like
very
when,
well.
when you hear someone but you don't really listen, or vice versa.
Like being married?
Aye.
So wait, can he see the present or only the future?
He only knows what's going to happen. He can't perceive what's happening right now.
That would be really actually weird.
Oh, let's make a webcomic. Let's
That's
go.
That's actually an awesome storyline for a blind character. Just doesn't.
But either way, it's about him. He sees the future, and he
Guess
goes
what's
on
next
adventures.
NBC and Iron Heroes.
Why the fuck not? Making up the game along as I go along this far.
The guy's
working
gonna-
out so far.
He'll start answering questions before we ask them. We'll have to ask them later.
Before you ask, yes.
Actually, there's
I'm that
a
good.
since my newest obsession right now is Doctor Who. There's actually an episode where, because time is all, I think as he describes it, timey-wimey, he actually winds up recording a video, answering questions that the person who watches it is the person who's asking the questions. So he's answering things that haven't been asked yet, and it all makes sense when it's shown in order. Future Seer.
Interesting.
Not the present.
Continue.
Okay.
That was my Doctor Who for the night.
Woo. All right. If you want steampunk, there's a comic called Girl Genius, which is about the classic story of an heir to a technological empire who is gone missing, and then now is discovered, and she's got these crazy ass powers, which means she's a spark.
You really do read a lot of webcomics, huh?
I like
Yeah.
webcomics. Shut up.
Is she attractive? Because
yeah.
I clicked on steampunk because it was trending on G Plus the other day, and every single girl was amazingly hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of steampunks.
I'm gonna get into steampunk.
You probably
I thought
should.
that was my kind of genre.
Yeah. Well, think about it. Steampunk is
What steampunk?
Well, doesn't that
Steampunk is a lot of brass and
Rob likes
leather.
girls with implants.
Well, I didn't. What?
What?
Implants?
What?
No.
No, it's bodices.
Oh, bodices are
Maybe a
fun.
little more.
I didn't mean implants like the way you're thinking.
Corsets are
Rob.
fun.
Yeah, but thing is, I've always been kind of put off by corsets because it's usually fat girls at conventions that wear them.
No.
But the
Not always.
things that I've been seeing recently, it looks like the weight restrictions have been getting smaller. I don't mean to offend anybody, but I just did.
But it happened.
Funny story. Which
That's why this is a
awkward,
bonus show.
Is my girlfriend's a very small girl, but her friends put a corset on her.
I know where this is going.
No. And although some of her friends are larger girls, my girlfriend was the only person of the entire group of her friends who didn't actually tie the thing shut. So she's so adorable because it's not like actually clothes. It's just sort of like it over her shirt. And it's like, and she sort of just like got it like halfway done. It's like, I'm done. I'm not doing this nonsense.
It's kind of like untied shoes.
Exactly.
Corsets, though, do magical things to the female form.
There's nothing, bro. There's just nothing for her to squeeze. It's just not that kind of situation.
Well, that's why bodices work on big girls, because the whole corset thing,
they're like prehistoric Spanx.
Yeah.
basically, yeah. But with like a slight twist towards the S&M.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
you know that's got to be uncomfortable
Whoa,
for them.
S&M Spanx.
Spanx?
Spanx and M?
Spanx and
Spanx. With the
Patent pending.
Spanx are like those things that women wear underneath their clothes to make them seem slimmer even if they're not slimmer.
Alright,
I never.
Do you want more?
You don't
Shall
have
we,
sisters.
shall we
hold
move
on. Well, pause right there. First off, this green label is amazing.
Yes.
This is just rocking my world right now.
That's why I drank earlier and I was just sort of like unfazed.
Well, I haven't drank this yet at all, and it is awesome.
Does that mean I have to try some?
You should try
Go right
some.
ahead.
Probably should, yeah.
That's the whole point of bonus show, is that we get stupid. So I want to
Spanx.
mention a couple here. And for me, webcomics are a little bit of a different experience, I think, because when my wife worked in the animation field for, so many years, I got to meet a lot of cool people who wound up coming out with webcomics. And so I think more of the artist than I do the comic. So like a few that I want to mention. One is Octopus Pie, which is done by
Yeah.
Meredith Gran. What?
Right.
You were gonna say something?
I'm just laughing at the name.
Oh no, it's a funny name. I don't read it every week. I mean, I read it occasionally. Out of all the comics that I do read, it's probably the one I've read the least. Even though, like, I know the girl, which I kind of feel bad for that. But I don't know what the continuing storyline is. But it just seems to be about, like, normal people. Well, alright. Normal people for us. They've all got some, weird stuff going on. But,
Humans.
yeah, but it's like basic human interaction, but done in a really weird way. And it's like kind of like a continuing storyline, it looks like, because 1 week doesn't really tell a story. So it's like 6, 8, maybe sometimes 10 panels that don't continue on that week. You have to go week to week to find out what's going on in the story. But it's drawn really well. She's an amazing artist, and it's good to follow. I think she's done a few storylines with it already. Another one that I used to follow a little more, but have kind of fallen away from recently, is The Adventures of Dr. McNinja.
Such a good comic.
Yeah, I started reading it because Chris Hastings is married to a friend of ours, Carly, who also does her own stuff, and her and her twin sister Lauren are probably the most amazing artists I've ever met.
Wait.
Yes.
Rewind. You know him?
Yes.
Well, why don't you invite him over here as a guest?
They live really far away.
Why don't you invite him over here as a guest anyway?
Zach.
Or, like, no, not just...
Zach, we're not going to invite him over just so you can be creepy.
No, I'm not gonna
If you want to be creepy, no, that's fine. If you want to be creepy, we could always go to the city and meet up one day. That's fine.
Or we could have, like, a guest speaker, because I know we should have probably guest speakers anyway.
We totally should.
So...
Although I don't know where they live right now, because I know that originally, they were in Staten Island, but I think they might have moved to
Brooklyn?
yeah.
Every other artist?
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say Brooklyn. That's just a shot in the
Not
dark.
to be stereotypical.
Probably gonna say Brooklyn.
Dude, really?
But again,
I think stereotypes, it's like a given.
it really is. But
That's exactly what stereotypes are.
I'm just saying that Brooklyn's a different place. Than
Artists
where I grew up.
live in Brooklyn. It's a stereotype.
and it's from what I've seen mostly true.
Thus, why stereotypes exist.
Except for Pat Smith, who lives in Montauk. I don't know how he goes from Montauk to Manhattan every day, because I would probably stab myself
Oh yeah,
in
I
the
would totally
face.
kill myself too.
It was bad enough going from Ronkonkoma to the city whenever I had to, and that was friggin' far. But at least you could fall asleep on the train because it was the last stop.
Yeah.
Montauk is just a nightmare.
Montauk's the last stop, too.
Yeah, shut up. The point is, Dr. McNinja, it is kind of an awesome webcomic. I, again, fell out of the storyline a while ago, but sometimes if you just kind of go in to a random day, none of it makes any goddamn sense.
But a lot of
You've got to read the whole thing.
his books are being published by, I think, Dark Horse now.
Yeah, no, I mean, he does really well for himself. You know, they go con to con and, you know, make decent money. Actually, he designed a t-shirt that I have. You guys all know it. It's a gray t-shirt. It says WW bat symbol D. What would Batman do? You know, we bought that actually at a convention from him because it was amazing. I don't know if he had the rights to it or not, but who gives a shit?
I have it now.
It was a different type of bat. Like, he changed the bat symbol just enough that he'd probably get away with it.
Yeah.
Well, considering there's been like 25 different bat symbols.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah,
it could
yeah.
be the bat symbol from the 80s. It could be the
but
bat symbol from
you know what? You can't
93.
you can't patent them all. But overall, good people, and I kind of wanted to plug their
You can
webcomics
copyright
while I
them
was
all.
doing it. You can't copyright all of them. Every type of shape of a bat in nature.
If they
Tell that to
actually
DC.
drawn it
Apple.
and used it.
Apple rounded edges on iPhone.
That's a big bunch of bullshit. We all know that.
Yeah, but it worked.
Samsung.
We like you, Samsung.
It worked.
Samsung had it like 10 years prior. Different show.
Samsung builds stuff.
Copyright show,
We-
different
we
show,
probably
so write
don't-
that
yeah,
down.
we don't have to get into that now.
So, and of course, Penny Arcade. I have to throw Penny Arcade in there because they're the only ones who I follow religiously.
They're
Like-
the only ones he reads for the comic.
That's really the thing. Is every single strip, regardless whether it's a game I know or not, whether it's, you know, something that I've been familiar with or not, every single comic has a punchline that I laugh at, and that's the important thing. Is it keeps me coming back. It's the only webcomic that you'll find on the homepage of my Google account, which is going away in November of this year, by the way.
What, your Google account?
No,
I Google.
Google homepage in
Yeah.
general, gone. They're nixing it.
What are they doing with it instead?
Just
Done.
going away completely. They figure by now, between the browsers themselves having the shortcuts and things you can do on your desktop, having a homepage is kind of, I don't know, passe at this point.
That's fair.
So they're going to be the first
I
ones
like
to
my
get rid of it.
homepage.
Oh, I love my homepage.
I have my iGoogle all fucking tricked out.
Yeah, well, I've got my,
Wow, listen to
Zaraki
that.
Kenpachi across the top, and the black and red coloring through the whole screen. I've got my stock quotes, my Penny Arcade, my weather, and then some other stuff that I used to be interested in but aren't anymore.
You're gonna have to find a way to just make your computer do that anyway.
Yeah, which means I'll just put that all on Chrome, because that's what I do now anyway.
Yeah.
My homepage of Chrome is now what my homepage of Google was. Now it's just all called apps instead for some reason.
Yeah.
So, Penny Arcade hooked me with one comic in particular. Way, way back in the day, they did one. I think they called it "Up All Night with Tycho and Gabe," and it was a talk show, late night talk show they did, where they had Bruce Campbell on there, and they called him Bruce Jesus Christ Campbell. That right there told me they're on the same wavelength I am, and ever since then, I've been hooked.
Long live Evil Dead.
Yes.
The chin.
And the remake is coming out. And he's one of the producers on it. And there's no Ash, and he's not in it.
Isn't it like also, it's also
How
like
is
a
that
play
Evil
too?
Dead then?
I assume it's Sam Raimi making it. I can't confirm that right now, but I assume. But they're just remaking the series, hopefully just the one movie, but they're remaking it, I think, as a horror film. Because the screenshots I saw were terrifying.
No, they shouldn't. No.
It's
Forget the
supposed to
horror.
It's supposed to be reminiscent of the first one of the Evil Dead.
Yeah.
it is gonna have some pretty gory stuff.
Well, gory
But-
is fine, but
Different
gory
characters-
in a comedic kind of.
Well, see,
I'm
here's
sure they'll keep the humor in it.
Here's the thing.
If the stage show was
Has to
any
be.
indication.
This is what happens. When they made The Evil Dead, they didn't intend on the humor.
Oh no, they didn't expect it to be funny, but then when people found it to be funny, they said, "Well, we're kind of
Yeah,
onto
but
something
because
here."
But because of that, they might be trying to.
No, hold
remove
on.
it.
I've got
But I
to.
have seen some pretty funny stuff.
I've got to nix that. I've got to put a stop to that conversation right now because that's wrong. Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell were friends growing up. Okay, maybe not growing up, but when the time they made that movie, they were friends, and both of them had an equal love of the Three Stooges. That first movie they made, a lot of those shots were based off the Three Stooges. If you read Bruce Campbell's autobiography, If Chins Could Kill, it tells the whole story of how they made that first movie. It was like $100,000 budget. They got local investors. I mean, they even go as far as to explain how they did the camera shots, which is like building wooden dollies, greasing them, and pulling with a rope. It's amazing. But there were definite influences from the Three Stooges in that movie, which is why it turned into a slapstick horror film afterwards.
Well, either way, I've seen some of the trailers for the new stuff, and it is pretty gory. But I do see some. It's not as much, I guess, maybe just for the trailers.
Mhm.
But there is a couple things that I see that might make me laugh, like just the. I think they showed like a clip of whatever the crap is haunting them coming up from the floor. And just the face that she's making and the way she's looking at you, it's like creepy but funny at the same time.
The scene in Evil Dead 2 where she's pounding up the trapdoor from the from the basement and we'll swallow your soul, we'll swallow your soul.
Yeah.
Like that's the best scene in the entire
and,
movie.
And I think they're still doing something like that because that's what that looks like. You know, the trailer. I mean, I only watched the Red Band trailer, and the reason why it's the Red Band trailer is because it's all the restricted material that they can't show on a regular trailer.
Mm.
So it's all the really, really gory stuff. So maybe that's why I didn't see some of the humor. But I mean, it looks like it's there. It looks like it's present. So.
Well, all I can say is I'm glad that he was involved in the casting. I'm glad that he is, he has a producer credit on the film, which, a lot of times doesn't mean anything. It just means that someone's like, oh, do you want to be a producer on the film so I can put your name on it? Yeah, sure, why not? I know, I probably shouldn't be saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Bill Plimpton, really famous independent animator. He had Terry Gilliam from Monty Python. He's an old friend of his. He had him put his name on one of his films as Terry Gilliam Presents, the name of the film, even though he had nothing to do with it and hadn't even watched it to that point. He just called him and said, hey, can I put your name on this? He said, yeah, sure, why not? And that's unfortunately how things go. So I'm hoping Bruce Campbell's name isn't just on this because, well, if we're doing Evil Dead, we have to have your name on it, or people aren't going to be okay with it.
All he has is his name.
Who?
Bruce Campbell.
Are you kidding me? He's got a very vibrant acting career right now.
He's on Burn Notice.
Burn Notice?
Yeah.
And Xena. Well, he was Xena.
Well, Hercules and Xena was, that was back in the day, but...
Jack of all trades.
See,
He
that's
did
a
have his
Bruce
own
Campbell
show.
fan.
Yeah.
He did have his own show. It lasted a season and a half. It had Vern Troyer in it as Napoleon, which was just brilliant. But, I mean, he's been in every Spider-Man movie. He's been in everything Sam Raimi's ever done, basically. He played aging Elvis. He played Elvis in a nursing home.
Yes. I'm not saying that I don't
That
like
was
the
an
man.
amazing movie, by the way.
It was an amazing movie. I have had many people watch it. I made people at the random patrons of the library watch it. I'll just be like, here, watch this.
That was an
But
awesome
my point
movie.
is, it's not like
Black Jack Kennedy. Brilliant.
like a lot of his stuff is based off his own name, the value of his own name.
Yeah, well, that's why, he came up as a B-movie actor.
Right.
And that's the thing, is B-movie actors have a cult following, so if it's got their name on it, it's going to work. So, I do agree with you, but I want to spin that towards that's a positive thing.
I'm saying it's a positive thing.
All right.
Which is the reason why he wouldn't just, put his name on shit.
Yeah. He's got integrity, that guy. I know because I follow him on Twitter. That means we're real close.
Oh my
That's how things work
god.
nowadays, right?
That's it, right? No, honestly, if you follow...
The initial Jared obsession is re-emerging.
Initial? Well, Bruce Campbell was one of the first obsessions I ever had, yeah, it's true. But you know what? Obsessions are what make us nerds. being overly involved in our hobbies is what defines us as who we are.
Suppose so.
Hence you with anime.
What are you talking about?
It might be
I don't have a problem.
It might
I don't have a problem.
It might be a different show, but it's always
Dude,
anime.
last night...
No, we don't want to hear the.
Oh, he's
No,
started.
last night.
He's putting the tablet down for this. He's putting the tablet down for
Last
this.
night, I was supposed to be asleep, and I started watching this show, and I was like 3 episodes in, and it was 1:30, and I was going to go, I had an appointment at the gym at 7, and I couldn't figure out for the life of me why I was still watching this fucking show, and that's when I knew I had a problem.
The first step is admitting it.
But the problem is that I admitted it, and then watched the next episode.
See, I think the first step is developing the problem, right? That would make more sense to me.
That's gonna
Logical
happen.
progression.
You know what? But you know what? You know what it is? It's that right now I'm looking at like 3 different things. Like my Netflix cost me like $25 to get the DVD still, which I'm probably gonna cancel the DVD at
Dear
the very least.
God.
Why the hell are you getting DVDs still?
Because my dad, it's a long story. He's old. Basically, what it comes down to is I'm probably gonna cancel that and replace it with 3 different anime subscriptions.
You know, you could get
that's
almost
not
any
sane.
anime for free now with like services like what I'm using with like the Roku. There's like 12 different anime channels that all give you different companies for free.
The free stuff I've seen almost every single episode.
No, but it's everything though. Like Anime Vice is a decent channel. Viz has their own channel.
I just find them online.
Yeah, BitTorrent is always the best place to go.
Torrents.
As Alec would always say, TV Torrents is an amazing service.
I pay for my media whenever I can.
Fair enough, but if it's not easily available.
Oh, really? I do.
No, actually, I think all of us, including Rob. No, not including Rob.
Rob
all,
doesn't pay for anything.
All
He
of
doesn't
us,
have to.
we actually pay for most of the stuff we do, simply because we want to support the artists that we're trying to support.
I
That
feel
makes sense.
okay. I've been consuming this shit for like going on. 17 years, and for the majority of that time, I probably wasn't paying for it because honestly, there was no way to pay for it when I was younger. It wasn't even an option. The stuff I wanted to watch wasn't brought over. All that was brought over was porn. So now that I can pay for it, and there's animators in Japan making like $15,000 a year to make my crack, I feel like I should pay for it to maintain at least some level of quality of crack.
Well, yeah, I can't go against that. I'll support whenever I can.
If you don't pay for your crack, people won't have money to produce your crack.
And the quality will just go down, and they'll start putting other things.
Can-
Then we'll all
it
be
just
watching
depends.
Dragon Ball again.
Yeah, it'll be the
Go to
Ocean
hell,
dub of Dragon Ball Z all over again, where it was like, where the lips weren't syncing,
Yeah.
and they were just making up random words.
Wait, what do you mean again? We were supposed to stop?
The Ocean dub was only like for the first. I don't need
The
to.
only thing I ever enjoyed in Dragon
Shut up
Ball, there were 2 things I ever enjoyed in Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball GT, when Gohan pretends to be Super Saiyan Man. And
that's actually not even GT. That's in Dragon
No.
Ball Z.
was it? I thought it was GT.
No, GT is crap.
Oh, well, anyway, so that was that.
GT is really bad.
And
I'll
then
give
when-
you that. But Z was fucking badass.
No, it wasn't. And
Dragon
then
Ball Z was okay.
when Freddie Wong
GT is horrible.
when Freddie Wong did the video
Over
over 9,000, that I enjoyed the crap out of.
Yes, the video was very enjoyable. The
That was-
mockery of that was DBZ originally was very enjoyable.
That was hilarious. So, any more webcomics to talk about in this hour?
You really want more?
Zach could keep going.
Rob doesn't really read webcomics,
I can't read.
so he's kind of like extraneous, pointless in this conversation.
Cyanide and happiness.
Oh, that's true.
Such a good comic.
Cyanide and happiness. I can't even really say anything about it. It's a lot of times so random. But
Yeah, it's
That's-
one of
that's
those. It's
pretty
one of
much
those
it.
really random comics, which makes it great. Another one similar. I can never get this. You know what I'm going to say. XKCD.
Yes, XKCD, which is pretty much randomness and intelligence.
Probably
Yeah,
the
I've
best
seen
stick
that.
figures I've ever seen drawn.
yeah, I've seen that.
I mean, each one of those comics is science and humor.
Yeah.
And you laugh at it. And once you get it, it's like, oh, that's actually kind of funny.
If you get it.
Yeah,
I
if you
feel
get
like
it.
I feel like reading those is like watching an episode of Minute Physics.
I will.
Well, he's a physicist.
I am not too ashamed
That makes sense.
to admit that I've definitely looked up on Wikipedia some of the terms that he's mentioned in XK
Well,
City.
you want to enjoy them.
I've had to actually research it and
Sometimes
realize, oh wait,
look up
I get
big
it.
words too.
Actually, we have a webcomic, which Carrie drew for us, that I just can't figure out how to fucking post on our website.
How many issues do we have?
2
Potential
or 3. She's like, I'm not drawing anymore until you post the ones I already made you. Which is fair. And
Yeah, it's totally fair.
I'm really just not, WordPress is not agreeing with me right now. I spent a
You and
good...
WordPress aren't friends right now?
No, we're not buddies. We're not getting along. I think the problem is the theme that we're using on our website
It's expensive.
it was a little expensive. But I don't think it works with webcomics because I've tried every plugin and every theme, and I just can't get it to work
I
properly.
think if you upgraded to 2.0, it'll be easier.
Yeah, but 2.0, when 2.0 came out, okay, we're using Thesis, which anyone who's done any web development will know Thesis. It's one of the biggest ones out there. We are using it, and it looks great as far as the blog goes. It gives me a lot of options, and I can, do a little custom code and make it do whatever we want. Problem is, when they upgraded to 2.0, they changed every single possible thing about how it functions. And it came out with no instruction manual. The forums exploded with WTF. That's how every single thread started. What the fuck is going on? What is a box? What is a border? And it just kept going, and no one had any fucking clue what's going on.
It's gotten better.
I hope so. I haven't had time to look at it because of the, 8,000 hours of school I've been doing a week. But when that calms down, I'm going to jump back into it.
Fair enough.
Our website should look awesome, and it doesn't. I'm a little perturbed by that.
We also need to make sure our comments work, because our comments aren't working right now.
Yeah, well, that would help. I thought they were working because I see a bunch of them on the admin side. I see a whole bunch of stuff.
The
there.
spam comments are getting through, but none of the actual comments are getting through.
Maybe we're
And
just
that's
not.
the issue we're getting.
Maybe we're just not getting comments.
No, like I've had people say, "My friend tried to comment on the post I wrote, and they couldn't do it. Why is that?"
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Maybe we do have interactions we don't know about.
Fire the tech guy. Wait.
We all work for free, and the two people who are technically the tech people, mainly Jared and I, paid for it. So technically, we are working for paying our paychecks into working.
Quick, hire the tech guy, then fire him again.
That was a sentence.
No, that was not a sentence.
I'm just gonna go on a limb.
I work for pay, and
He's
pay-
actually on a
pay
limb
work
right now.
free.
I'm paying for working freeness paid something services due.
Motherfucker!
Listen,
Post
how many
ad
other
hoc.
forms of enjoyment do you know that you actually get something in return for?
None.
So you're paying for enjoyment. We're done.
So it's like gambling. I'm giving my money to the interwebs.
There's definitely some activities that could be brought up there.
Yeah, but yeah.
For one, beer.
That's where we're going.
That's where we've been.
I'm over 21. I have no problem saying that I drink beer.
I read.
I've been over 21 for entirely too long.
You turn those numbers backwards, it's 12. That's what.
Jared, shut the fuck up, dude. You still look like you're 14.
It doesn't matter what I look like. It's what I feel like when I get out of this chair.
Yeah, the difference is that, like, okay, so I work with a lot of teenagers, and they're like, "How old are you? Like 45?" You know what that does to your self-esteem on a daily basis?
Oh, that's probably terrible. I'm in a college class right now because I'm so far retarded in my development. I'm in a college class with like freshmen in their bachelor's degrees, and the other day they found out that I'm 30 years old, and they were like, "No fucking way." I'm like,
And I
"Yeah."
was like, way. And they were like, no. And I was like, way.
Similar. They were like, they couldn't believe it. And I was like, yeah, something about my mortgage. They're like, you have a house? I'm like, I'm 30. My wife and I, you're married? I'm 30 with a house. Do you think I'm not married?
I'm wearing a wedding ring.
Do you see the bling? I have a very blingy ring. It's kind of hard to miss. It's the only nice thing I own.
Jared constantly gets hit on by 20-year-olds.
I do, and I
Because
wish...
they think he's 14.
But that's the thing, is I've looked this way since I was 14, and I never got hit on by 20-year-olds until I got married.
The ring.
The ring.
The ring of power.
It's like magic.
It puts people at ease, It opens legs. It's really weird, and it's completely useless for me because I'm like the last guy who could. I wouldn't have the balls to cheat on my wife.
Then he wouldn't have the balls.
No, not only because she would tear them off and shove them down my throat and out my asshole, but I would just
You
feel
would.
like a terrible person.
You would be.
I just can't do that.
Your wife's a nice lady.
Yeah, good person. She's good people.
Good people.
And she draws our webcomic, which we will never get posted because I'm incompetent.
And she listens to this, so she's very good.
She won't listen to this. She has no
No?
She has
interest.
no idea what this goes
Oh,
on.
that's
no,
fine then.
well, right now she's
But she knows he's incompetent.
right now she is lying.
She also knows that he's impotent, but
She's lying in bed watching TV. Shut up. She's lying in bed watching TV, being like, "Those fucking assholes are still at my house." That's what she's doing right now.
She wouldn't be like that if she was on the podcast. She'd bring her on the podcast sometime.
She will be on the podcast when we have all of our significant others on here to discuss with us how stupid our hobbies are.
Stuff's too nice for that, but she could talk about webcomics for hours. We should do next time. We should talk about that.
Well, maybe. All right. Well, I think we're at like 45 minutes right now for our bonus show. So, anyone else have something to talk about?
just by the way,
We haven't talked about Congress.
side note, it kind of has to do with reading and all. So
Well, reading is fundamental, so
Reading is-
you should bring
just
this
the
up.
new Brandon Sanderson, Robert Jordan
Oh
book.
God.
Yeah, no, and I've already run through about half of it. It's the last book in the Wheel of Time series. Definitely recommend it.
Really?
Just throwing it out there.
Because I keep with that series. Every time they come out with a new book, I was like, I want to read the books now. So I go back to the beginning. I get to maybe the 5th book, and I'm like, I'm so tired of this series. So I can never make it to all the way to the end.
Why would you
That's-
start back at the beginning?
Because
That's
I forget
absurd.
who is everyone. I don't
It's
know.
the wheel of time. Eventually, you get back to the beginning.
I
Yeah, but
can't.
that's absurd.
I don't remember
Those
who
books are 1,000 pages
I
apiece.
Rob, we read all those.
I have read all of those, but I don't start at the beginning every time a new one comes out.
I must have read the Wheel of Time about 4 times or 5 times by now.
I'm raising my hand because I want to say something.
What's up?
I have a confession to make.
You don't know who the Wheel of Time is?
No, I don't. I know who the Wheel of Time is. I don't care. My confession is I have the 5 volumes of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy in one book. That whole setup.
Yeah.
Right. I've never made it through past the 2nd book.
That's probably because all your friends, mainly your friends from high school, who suck at life, ruin the jokes for you, and have effectively ruined the book.
Actually, I don't have any friends from high school.
Yeah, you do.
No,
You?
I don't.
Alec.
No.
Alex is in the same school from me. So.
Alex,
Yeah, but he's a few years older than me, and I met him when I was
Well,
17.
regardless, he ruined the fucking book for me. So when I finally read it, it wasn't fucking funny anymore.
Actually, I think it was just because I had a hard time pronouncing all the names in my head.
Fuck you.
Zaphod Rocks.
It's
Yes.
it's your fault.
Zaphod is
It's
one of the
all
hardest
your
names
fault.
to wrap around.
Because you were with
him.
him.
Potato
All the
chips
jokes
were
were
with him.
ruined. All the jokes.
Not all the jokes, only the first 2 books. There's 3 more books you could read.
After the first one, I was like, oh wow, this entire book was ruined for me. I'm not gonna bother.
It's really hard to read.
Don't go past the 3rd ever. I don't recommend it.
I haven't.
Get
I
past
just
the 2nd.
explained this to you.
I'm just saying, if you ever make it that far, don't go past the
No, I could because when you get to the 2nd book, it starts over from the beginning of the 1st book again. But now they're in a restaurant somehow. I don't know what's going on.
3rd. They're at the restaurant at the end of the universe.
How? How did they get there?
Because they say they're going to go to the restaurant at the end of the universe at the end of the first book.
There seems
they
like a
go
whole
there?
other book in between that. I don't know.
Jared's missing a page.
I'm missing something.
Seriously, like
You
They
said
have-
it to be an epic journey, but it's like but what they said basically is like going to the diner.
Yeah, it's-
Yeah.
hey,
We're going to the diner.
let's go to the diner. Okay, we're at the
because
diner.
the end of the universe happens every day.
You know what? I'm done with you. Get out.
Hey, listen, he just got started talking. He hasn't talked all.
No, fuck him. He talks all the time anyway. So tonight was like the least we've heard Rob talk in months, which is awesome because he started out not wanting to do this at all.
Yeah, it was really funny,
Yeah,
actually.
go to hell.
Podcasting, I guess I'm here, so I guess I have no choice.
I'll fucking do it, I guess, if you want me to.
Then we can't get him to shut up half the time, which is awesome.
It's because you all want to listen to me.
Less want, more have to.
Ouch.
Hardcore.
Insert evil laugh here.
Zach's good at being abusive sometimes.
Yeah, you son of a bitch.
Put a couple drinks in them.
Right? A couple drinks, but
All right,
sure.
so
Abused.
that's been our alcohol-soaked night for the evening. I think we all did very well here tonight. Any life lessons to
Really?
take away?
You want a life, don't read the webcomics. But they're so good.
And Zach, you can leave a list of other webcomics we didn't talk about if you want, or even the ones we did. You can leave us a list at the website.
Come to the dark side.
So people can go
We have
to-
cookies.
Yeah, they do have cookies. They're delicious. They're mostly
Cookies.
chocolate and double chocolate.
Hmm.
Is that because double chocolate cookies are black?
That's exactly what it is.
You racist.
The dark side. Now you get it.
Wow.
All right, so if that's it for the night, then I'm just gonna say,
You know that Rob is German.
yes.
What does that have to do with anything?
I have
Racist
no idea.
bastard.
Still going on? Still?
Black is the like epitome of
Blah,
evil.
blah, 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 blah.
I thought that was
Rah, rah,
Ozzy
rah,
Osbourne
rah.
purple. Lord
Purple
of
people?
Darkness? No? Okay. That's it for the night then. So screw off. And make sure you watch Community, season premiere February 7th, Thursday, 7
Are
Central.
we being sponsored by them?
I hope so, but they're coming back, because I was looking that up while we were talking. Season 4 starts February 7th, 8 o'clock, 7 Central. Be there.
Or B Square.
I like Square.
You could be both. I don't see anything wrong with being square.
Hey.
That's fine.
High standards.
If there is a person in this room who is square, it is Zach.
Probably true.
All right. Good night, jerks.
I like cookies.
Thank you for listening to our show. Please visit our website at noordinaryobsession.com, where you'll find show notes from this and other podcasts, along with our blog and Twitter feed. This has been a production of No Ordinary Media, all material copyright unless otherwise noted. As always, be kind to us and subscribe to our feed.